Have you ever thought that right beneath one of the most beautiful cities in the world, there is a place so dark and so terrifying that some people who went in never came back? This is not a story, not a movie. This is a real place, beneath real streets, where 6 million human souls rest in eternal silence. And even today, people are disappearing down there. Tonight we go beneath the streets of Paris, into the tunnels that the French government has tried to keep secret for centuries. We enter the catacombs. Watch this video until the very end, because the final story I have for you tonight will make you think twice before ever going underground again. This is the dark secret of the Paris Catacombs, and the story of the explorers who never came back. Paris, the most visited city in the world. Every year over 30 million people walk its beautiful streets. They see the Eiffel Tower. They get lost in the beauty of the Louvre and its cafes. But what they do not know is what lies beneath their feet, right at this very moment. While tourists are taking photographs and children are laughing in the streets above, just a few meters below, 6 million human skeletons are lying in complete darkness, skull upon skull, walls of bones stretching for miles, an entire city of the dead, directly beneath the city of the living, and the story of how they got there is even darker than you can imagine. To understand the catacombs, we have to go back to the 1700s. 18th century Paris had a massive and terrifying problem. The city was running out of space for its dead. For centuries, people had been burying their loved ones in churches and cemeteries across the city. But by the 1700s, these cemeteries were so overcrowded that bodies were literally rising out of the ground. Mass graves were filled so far beyond capacity that bodies were stacked 20 feet deep. The soil had become so contaminated that the water supply was being poisoned. People were getting sick, and a smell had spread across parts of the city that was completely unbearable. Something had to be done. At the same time, Paris had another problem. Beneath the city, there was a vast network of abandoned limestone quarry tunnels. These were the same tunnels from which the stone used to build Notre Dame and the Louvre had been extracted for centuries. Now these tunnels were empty, dark, and forgotten. In 1786, the French government made a decision that would change Paris forever. They began transferring the dead underground. The transfer of 6 million souls. What followed was one of the strangest and most terrifying operations in human history. For years, workers carried the bones of 6 million people through the streets at night, by torchlight, and carts covered with black cloth. Priests walked alongside praying for the dead. The bones were not simply dumped in the tunnels. They were arranged with great care. Rows of skulls were lined up. Walls were constructed entirely from bones. The result was something the world had never seen before. A city beneath a city. 300 kilometers of tunnels, stretching beneath every street in Paris. Going 30 meters deep underground. Rich and poor, criminal and saint, king and peasant, all equal in death, all resting together in this silent darkness for centuries. If this is making you uncomfortable right now, just imagine actually being down there in the darkness surrounded by 6 million skulls. If you are enjoying this story, hit the like button right now. And tell me in the comments, would you ever have the courage to go inside the Paris Catacombs? The official versus the secret tunnels. Now here is something most people do not know. When tourists visit the catacombs today, they are only seeing a tiny fraction of what is actually down there. The official tourist route is only 2 kilometers long. Just 2 kilometers. Out of 300, that means 98% of the catacombs are still completely off limits to the public. Down there is an entire secret world. These tunnels pass beneath the Élysée Palace, the home of the French president himself. And it is not just bones down there. There are hidden rooms, underground lakes, ancient graffiti going back hundreds of years. But there is something else down there too, danger. Because these tunnels are a maze, where every passage looks identical, where mobile phones get no signal, and from which escape can become impossible. Part 5, the Cataphiles. For the past 200 years, a secret group of people has been exploring these forbidden tunnels. They are called the Cataphiles. These are not criminals. Among them are artists, engineers, and students. They descend through manhole covers and secret passages known only to those within their community. Down there they have built their own hidden world. Secret cinema halls, underground bars, even swimming pools carved directly into the rock. The French police have a special unit called the Cataphiles, whose only job is to catch unauthorized explorers. But despite all of this, people go down every single year, because the peace they find in that silent darkness cannot be found anywhere else in the world. But not everyone comes back. Part 6, the Lost Explorers. This is the part the French government does not like to talk about. Several people have entered the catacombs and disappeared forever. One wrong turn, one dying torch, and you can be trapped forever in the world's largest graveyard. In 1793, a man named Philibert Aspairt entered the tunnels alone. He never came back alive. 11 years later, his body was found. Do you know where? Just a few meters from an exit door. He was so close to freedom, but the darkness had led him astray. To this day, several missing persons cases remain connected to these tunnels. People say that somewhere within those 300 kilometers there are remains that have never been found and never will be. 6 million souls and 300 kilometers of darkness. What do you think? Are the bones of lost explorers who lost their way still somewhere in those tunnels today? Tell me in the comments. But the catacombs were not only for explorers. These tunnels have hidden many dark secrets throughout history. During World War II, the French resistance had set up secret headquarters in these tunnels. And remarkably, just a short distance above them, Nazi soldiers had also established their own bunkers to enemy armies inside the same maze, completely unaware of each other. And some say that in ancient times secret rituals and dark gatherings were held here, deep in the tunnels, where human bones were used as decoration for ceremonies that no authority ever witnessed. The darkness has always called to those who wish to remain hidden from the world. Part 8. What lies undiscovered? Part 8. What lies undiscovered? And now, the most astonishing fact of all: despite all the exploration over the centuries, researchers believe that a significant portion of the catacombs remains completely unmapped to this day. We simply do not know what is down there. In 2004, police discovered a secret cinema hall fully equipped with digital equipment and food and drinks. When they returned 2 days later for further investigation, everything was gone, completely vanished. Only a note remained. It read, "Do not try to find us. Who were these people? Where did they go?" To this day nobody knows. Paris above ground is the city of light, but beneath it lies a world where light has never reached. If this story has taken away your sleep tonight, you are not alone. Subscribe to Midnight Mysteries and hit the bell icon, because next time, we are going somewhere even darker. I will see you at midnight.